Southeast Michigan podcast. What up? Welcome back. If I don't sound, I don't know, if I sound exhausted, it's because I am. I have been all over the place the last couple weeks, actually a month. But this year, the wife and I think we've done 8 concerts so far, and we have I think like 3 more to go. It's been an absolute blast. Oh boy, it takes a toll on you. You don't bounce back like you used to, especially on weekdays, school nights. Like last night, we were at Little Caesars Arena. Got to see Blink 182 again for the second year in a row, and um, just an absolute blast. Got home late, eat trash, McDonald's, and call it a day. Um, but anyways, welcome back, folks. The Southeast Michigan podcast, of course, is all like always is free and available wherever you listen or watch, and up on YouTube. Click the bell for notifications. And a reminder, we are running a autographed jersey giveaway. So you have till the 25th. You just have just over 10 days to do it, to enter. Giving away a Michigan J.J. McCarthy jersey and a Blake Corum Michigan jersey. Both signed, both COA'd by Beckett. And all you got to do is follow the show on Twitter and then go on to the YouTube channel and pick any one of the videos and comment your Twitter handle name, and boom, you're entered. One entry per person, and like I said, on the 25th, we will declare our winners, and we'll have one jersey for each person. All right, excuse me. Um, we are almost wrapping up. We're almost wrapped up with our Big Ten season preview. Started in early July, and here we are. We are about mid-August, and we have 4 teams left. Today, Maryland, Oregon on the schedule, and then later this week, I plan on maybe doing Ohio State, if not early next week, and then we have Michigan, and then of course we'll have our game preview against Fresno State for Michigan, and boom, we'll be in the thick of it. We'll be kicking off our season, and over the course of this podcast, I really wanted to do more sports documentary reviews. We've only done 2. It's just I had a busier winter than I anticipated, so thought maybe going into the winter I'd be able to knock a bunch of them out. It just didn't happen, but we are gonna find hell or high water to do the Sign Stealer review that comes out on the 27th on Netflix. Yeah, got the Connor Stallions thing. So of course we'll watch that and we will dissect the shit out of it, and we'll chit chat about what Connor has to say and what's going on with this whole sign stealing situation. But anyways, let's talk some football. First up, we have Maryland, and then we'll hit Oregon. And this one was gonna be or was fun to do, just writing up the notes because there's kind of a lot to get to in a sense. There are a lot of things I want to talk about. So um, let's look into it. Okay, so with Maryland, 2023 went 8-5, 4-5 in the conference. Okay, 3 winning seasons in a row and 3 bowl games, 3 bowl game wins in a row. Maryland has not been above 500 in Big Ten conference play since joining in 2014, which I think they went like one game over 500, right? So uh, they're going to be pulling off an upset one of these days, right? Just like Purdue does, Iowa does. They're going to beat somebody. They almost beat Michigan last year. Talia Tagovailoa went undrafted and is now in the CFL for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, which I thought that dude would at least been in the NFL playing this preseason. You right? I mean, did I miss something? I feel like some of these other, like if Shea Patterson and Jake Rudock can get a run in preseason play, you figure that the Maryland all-time passing leader would at least get a shot. Thought it was very interesting. When I was doing the notes, I'm like, I haven't heard anything about Tagovailoa outside of Tua this preseason. Like nothing, no news. And then when I Googled him, he's on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Very weird. Um, Tago departed Maryland as Big Ten's all-time passing yards leader as well, so school and conference-wise. And as I look at this list, I thought it was really interesting. Um, the top 10 Big Ten all-time passing yards leaders. Sorry, someone messaged me. 2 quarterbacks in that top 10 list are from Northwestern. So we'll go through that top 10 here right now. So top 10, we'll go 10 to 1. Okay. I have it listed 1 to 10. Let's go 10 to 1. So all time Big 10 yards passing leaders. Okay. Number 10, Chad Henne, Michigan, 9,715. Number 9, David Blau, 9,734. He was from Purdue, and I don't know if you remember David Blau, but he had kind of a small little segment or two in the quarterback Netflix show last year with Kirk Cousins. I think that was the quarterback one. Um, he was on the Detroit Lions, and then he was on the Minnesota Vikings. Who knows where he's at right now? You have Trace McSorley, 9,899. Of course, he was at Penn State. Brett Bazinet, 10,580 yards. He was at Northwestern. It's one of our Northwestern guys. Then you have Sean Clifford, 10,661 from Penn State. Clayton Thorson, 10,731, our other Northwestern Wildcat. And then we get into the top 4 here. Drew Brees, 10,909, of course, Purdue. Adam Weber, 10,917 at Minnesota. Curtis Painter, 11,163, Purdue. And then again, Talia Togovola, 11,256. So that was a cool top 10 list. And you have a couple Boilermakers and a couple Northwestern Wildcats in there. What does it say? I think Brett Bazinet and Clayton Thorson for Northwestern. I definitely are up there because I believe they passed for 4 years. So same thing with Adam Weber at Minnesota. But anyways, and Chad Henne too, right? Chad Henne's probably gonna have more point. Probably in the 10,000 range if he doesn't get hurt senior year. All right, let's get into the news and notes about Maryland. Maryland's offensive line looks to tune up front with incoming transfers. 2023 averaging 3.7 yards per rush attempt, down from 3.9 in 2022. So last year I praised their offensive line. They had NFL talent. They just couldn't get the run game going probably as much as they should have. Running back Roman Hemby back for year 4. Rushed for just shy of 1,000 in 2022 with 989. Hemby is on the 2024 Doak Walker watch list. Wide receiver room has a lot of potential. Quarterback room up for grabs. Billy Edwards is a dual threat and will compete with incoming transfer MJ Morris. Defensive lineman Jordan Phillips listed on Bruce Feldman's annual freaks list. And the front 7 on defense will be the team's strength. All right, let's get into the key losses. Linebacker Jayshon Barham transfers to Michigan, picked off J.J. McCarthy in last year's game. And, of course, we'll touch more on Jayshon Barham in Michigan's preview and probably during the season because this dude is an absolute monster. Defensive back Gavin Gibson transfers to East Carolina. Tight end Rico Walker leaves for Auburn, former 4-star recruit. Running back Antoine Littleton transfers to Temple. Tight end Corey Dyches transfers to California. Linebacker Fanaje Gote leaves for Auburn to play for his 7th season. Defensive back Tarheeb Still, 5th round by the Chargers. Offensive lineman Delmar Glaze, 3rd round to the Raiders. And quarterback Talia Tagovailoa going to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Additions: offensive tackle Isaiah Wright from Buffalo. Quarterback MJ Morris from North Carolina State started 7 games in 2 seasons for the Wolfpack. Offensive guard Alu Ba comes in from Georgia, and cornerback, Jalen Husky transfers from Bowling Green. Then let's turn you around and we'll look at the schedule. All right, Maryland Terrapins, 2024 schedule, over under 6.5 wins via FanDuel. They start out the season on August 31st, hosting UConn. That's going to be a W. Michigan State. This is going to be a close game. I'm going to give a slight edge to the Spartans. So if, of course, you listen to the previous episodes, you know where I stand there. That's going to be a loss for the Maryland Terrapins, so they're going to be 1-1 out the gate. They travel to Virginia. The Cavaliers were 3-9 last year and haven't won more than 6 games since 2019, so that program is kind of on the down. I think Maryland can win that on the road. Then Maryland comes back home for Villanova. That's going to be a W. They go on the road to Bloomington. That's going to be a W as well. Indiana's going to be terrible this year. They come back home for Northwestern. This potentially could be a close game, but again, I'm siding with the home team. Going to go Maryland. They host USC. This one is going to be probably a battle, but USC is going to pull this one out. I think the Trojans went on the road here, snagging that dub. So right now we have Maryland with 2 losses, and they're both going to be in division play, or conference play, excuse me. And that USC game looks like that's the homecoming matchup. All right. They have a string of road games here. They go on the road to Minneapolis. I'm going to give Minnesota the win, going home team here, but siding with the Gophers for this one. They go to Eugene to follow that up. The Terps just simply do not have the offensive horses to keep up. It's going to be interesting who can control the line of scrimmage, though. You know, Oregon is going to have a lot of potential on defense, but they're going to have to prove it. And Maryland potentially could have a reloaded offensive line rather than a rebuilding offensive line. But we'll see. They lost, I think, at least 3 or 4 guys, so we'll see. Come back home for Rutgers. I've said it several times. Rutgers was going to be they're going to be held back by quarterback play. So I'm going Maryland here. If I mean, this game's in November. We're talking about in August, right? If Rutgers wins this game, though, I mean, don't shoot the messenger. I think it's very possible that it could go their way. Following that up at home with Iowa, late November, low scoring battle. Give me the Hawkeyes. I know there's been a lot of talk about K McNamara looking like garbage in practice, but again, time and time again, Iowa wins games simply with just defense, and with Maryland really not having a good run game per se. Again, I know Hemby is on the Doak Walker watch list, but it's preseason. Just give me Iowa. Lastly, they end the year at Penn State. This is another one of those series where you just go, wow, this is where the series is at. Okay. So a head-to-head series, they are down 3 wins to 43 losses versus the Nittany Lions. Add another to make 44. Um, there was what was the series last week where we were talking about? Oh yeah, I mentioned it because we previewed Penn State last week, talking about Maryland, and I kind of popped up the graphic there, and I was just shocked, like 43-3 in Penn State's favor. I mean, that's just absurd, you know, because they used to play in the same conference, and you know, Maryland moves over, or Maryland stays put for a while. Penn State comes to the Big Ten in 1993. Blah 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 blah. So I thought it was crazy. Anyways, enough yapping. Final record prediction for the Maryland Terrapins is 6-6 and 3-6 in the conference. So they're still not going to have a winning record in Big Ten play. They're barely going to make a bowl game. And I really like Loxley, but I think he's just pigeonholed here in College Park. This is just a program that is just going to be um, kind of where just a little bit above like the Indianas and Northwesterns. They're going to win 7 games. They're going to win 8 games, maybe. 9 games is pushing it, but they're going to be one of those teams that's just going to get your blood and your adrenaline rushing in late November when you got to play them. This is a soft non-conference schedule, but that stretch after Northwestern is just going to blow. Okay, so USC, 2 road games, Minnesota, Oregon. Got to play Rutgers, got to play Iowa, and play Penn State. So their back half of their schedule sucks, and that's why I'm going to give them the 66 record. So because like they come out of the gate, let's say they beat Michigan State, they could potentially be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-0. But they're gonna fall. They're gonna stumble along the way there, and I think it's gonna be against the Spartans. So we'll see. All right. Well, that is the Maryland Terrapins. When we come back, we will talk Oregon Ducks. Sports betting has rapidly risen in popularity, and I want to connect you all with an opportunity to get started or get ahead. Having multiple sportsbook accounts is the most simple way to maximize your profits, and there has never been a better time to sign up. When you visit my page, signupexpert.com/southeast, you'll be connected to all the sportsbooks in your region, along with a review of each platform and its unique benefits. All of these sportsbooks have valuable sign-up offers for new users, and when you register through my link, you'll automatically receive the top offer at each one. When you use multiple sportsbooks, you ensure that you can always access the best available odds, which is key to successful sports betting. If you want to take advantage of these benefits and support our brand, please consider signing up for your next sportsbook at signupexpert.com/southeast. All right, Southeast Michigan podcast back for the next team, which is the Oregon Ducks. Oregon Ducks. Then we just have two more teams to go through. We are at the pinnacle. We're at going to be at 16 of the 18 here. All right, let's get into the Dan Lanning Oregon Ducks. Let's see here. All right, 2023. Oregon went 12-2, 8-12, or excuse me, 8-2 in the Pac-12. Both of those losses coming to the Washington Huskies. Ninth best scoring defense and the second best scoring offense last year. Instant favorite to reach the CFP and contend for the Big Ten title. Lost 4 defensive starters to the NFL. Offense will be one of the nation's best. Pretty simple, right? Not much to really elaborate. All right, let's get into their key losses. Center Jackson Powers Johnson goes second round of the Raiders. I'm personally, as a Raiders fan, really happy about that one because he is a versatile dude. So you can kick him out the guard, play center, but he was our second round pick. Pretty happy with that one. Quarterback Bo Nix drafted 12th overall to the Denver Broncos. 4,500 yards, 45 touchdowns, and 3 picks last year. That's just absolutely crazy. And I believe he had a pretty solid outing in his first preseason game yesterday, or was it 2 days ago as of this recording? Threw a touchdown, I think, on one of his first passes, or his first pass, can't remember. But looking pretty good. He takes care of the ball, and maybe Denver finally has their quarterback of the future. They have whiffed time and time again. I mean, they're about as bad as the damn Cleveland Browns. As much as I don't like the Denver Broncos, for their sake, hopefully they found their guy in Bo. Defensive back Kyrie Jackson went 4th round of the Vikings. And I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I think that's the fellow that passed away. Now that I think of that, when I wrote these notes, it was a while ago. Man, if it is in fact Kyrie Jackson, because I remember they did lose a rookie. Rest in peace, man. That's tragic, sad. But yeah, he is hopefully flying high somewhere. Running back Bucky Irving, 4th round of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 1,600 scrimmage yards and 13 touchdowns last season. Defensive back Turquez Bridges transfers to Florida. Former 5-star quarterback Ty Thompson leaves for Coastal Carolina. Key additions: quarterback Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma. 2 seasons as a Sooner, he's thrown 55 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and almost 7,000 yards. Defensive lineman Derek Harmon in from Michigan State. Big get right there. Cornerback Jabbar Mohammed transfers from Washington, 16 pass breakups and 3 interceptions last season. Former 5-star wide receiver Evan Stewart in from Texas A&M. Defensive lineman, Jamari Caldwell from Houston, 12 TFL and 8.5 sacks in the past 2 years. Let's get into the schedule. Now, before we do that, I want to show you this graphic real quick. I could not find one for USC, but this graphic here is from On3, and they basically did Oregon's all-time record versus Big Ten teams. Now on the screen, for some reason I can't get it to scroll down a little bit. So the bottom one right here, you see the top part of USC's logo. They are 23-38 versus the Trojans all time. Versus Washington, they're 48-63. They've never played Rutgers. 1-3 versus Minnesota. 2-1 versus Purdue, 2-1 versus Illinois, 2-6 for Nebraska, 2-1 versus Iowa, 1-9 versus Ohio State. Of course, that one win came, was it last year or 2 years ago? 3 years ago? 32-39 versus UCLA. Never played Maryland. Only played Northwestern once and lost. 2-1 versus Indiana. 3-3 versus Wisconsin. 4-3 versus Michigan State. 1-3 versus Penn State, and 2-3 versus Michigan. So boom. Wanted to show that graphic, and like I said, I couldn't find one on USC. Hence why we don't have that one, or didn't have that one, or really essentially any of the new incoming teams. All right. Anyways, let's get into Oregon's schedule. Over under on FanDuel is 10.5 wins this year. Can they do it? Looks like on August 31st they are hosting Idaho, the Idaho Vandals. The Idaho Vandals, who are not in the new college football game, so you cannot play in their indoor stadium, unfortunately. If you don't know what Idaho Stadium looks like, it kind of, to me personally, I always compared it to like where Toledo plays basketball at Savage Hall. It literally looks like an indoor basketball stadium because there's no end zone seating. It's only sidelines, and it's very tiny. Anyways, they're getting the dub versus Idaho. It's probably going to be like 90-4, 90-5. I don't know how they're going to get 4 or 5 points, but it's going to be destruction. They then host Boise State. That's a W. They go on the road to Corvallis. They're playing Oregon State. Somehow, Oregon State won in 2022 with a quarterback throwing for 60 yards and 2 picks. Not this time. The Ducks are getting the dub. They travel to UCLA. Going to Pasadena here. That's going to be W2. Curious what the game plan is offensively from Eric Bieniemy's Bruins offense, but I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up with the boys. I think Dan Lanning is going to be 4-0, and they're going to be 5-0, hosting Michigan State. Friday Night Lights. That game is on a Friday night, and I mentioned it before doing these previews. These Friday night games that the Big Ten is going to have this year is going to be, I think it's going to be super cool because, you're just going to have football constantly for 3 days during the weekend. As a Big Ten fan, right? You're gonna have the games Friday, a couple games Friday, then of course you're gonna have Saturday, and you're gonna have the NFL Sundays, right? So it's gonna be fun here. They then go, or then they don't go anywhere. They're staying home. They're hosting Ohio State. Last time these teams met, the Ducks won in Columbus. So even with C.J. Stroud throwing for 484 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's 2022. Oregon ran for 269 on the ground. Oregon's only series win. So right here, I have it listed 9-1 in the favor of the Buckeyes. This game will be one to watch, of course, but most likely 2 undefeated teams if OSU gets by Iowa. Call me crazy, but I think Ohio State repays the debt here. Let's replicate the 2021 game, but in opposite favor. Buckeyes win. All right, so there you go, 2021. Now that I read that, I have my own notes, I read that. I remember watching that game, tailgating in 2021. That game was on before the Michigan game, and everybody's like, "Quick, turn it!" Oregon just picked off C.J. Stroud, and so maybe Connor Stalions helped out the Oregon Ducks there, huh? All right, let's get into the next game, right? Let's get into the next game. So they have kind of a tough stretch there. I mean, considering a tough stretch with Michigan State, but they got Ohio State. They're going to lose to the Buckeyes, I think, and then they're going to rebound these next 2 weeks at least versus Purdue and Illinois. Purdue on the road. They then host, or excuse me, they travel to Michigan. This is a game where I thought about maybe kind of going to. Ticket prices are a little ridiculous. I would love to see Michigan close an old wound. That is the 2007 game when Oregon came into Ann Arbor and whooped the Wolverines' ass. After that App State debacle. But as of right now in August, I need Michigan's quarterback room to prove they can keep up the championship level. And unfortunately, I think Oregon ties the series all time 3-3. Of course, Michigan's our last team that we'll preview, and I'm going to give you my full, honest opinions on this team this upcoming year. This season is going to be essentially an NFL season from now until the indefinite future. And depth is going to be a huge role. Now, I'm not saying Oregon is way more deep than Michigan, but Michigan, they got a lot of question marks in the 2 and 3 deep. Questions are like, can those guys step up? Because a lot of who we see this year is the old 2 deep and some starters. So there's a lot of comments there, but like health is going to be a key. And obviously, Michigan already lost Rod Moore. So you're going to need Quentin Johnson and company and Makari Page to really step up. Rod Moore is a very vocal leader, film junkie, and so that's a huge blow, right? And this game isn't necessarily extension past of what a regular season used to look like, but as we get into November, man, you just cross your fingers that guys can stay on the field. Anyways, let's get into these final 3 games. Okay, so they obviously rebound after the Ohio State loss. They come back home for Maryland W. They go to Madison. This one's going to be a W2. Wisconsin is not going to be able to hang. And then they come back to finish off the year versus the Washington Huskies. Again, Washington could be a team that might surprise people, right? But they are replacing everybody more than Michigan, and we'll see how it goes. But Oregon is gonna to beat the Washington Huskies, and my final record prediction for Dan Lanning's Ducks is 11-1 and 8-1 in Big Ten play. Of course, that blemish coming from Ohio State. If they get by Ohio State, they're running the table in the regular season. It's just, to me, that's just that simple. There's not a single game on here that I can consider a trap game. Not a single one. Oregon State is technically one of their rivalry games, right? But Oregon State is losing Jonathan Smith to Michigan State. They're losing DJ Uiagalelei. Like, everybody's gone. UCLA, I'm not worried about that. Michigan State, not worried about that. They don't play Iowa. They don't play Penn State. I think Oregon's just really, really in play for 12-0. Ceiling 12-0. Floor 10-2 maybe, if that. God, I really hope Michigan wins, but I just don't see it happening. So that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more teams down. We will be, like I said, getting into Ohio State later this week. That's the goal. If not, early next week. And then, of course, our Michigan Wolverines. So if you are watching or listening to this, get yourself into that giveaway if you haven't already. Again, one more time, all you have to do, follow the show's Twitter account. All that info's in that description box below that every YouTube member likes to, or creator likes to say, right? Smash the like button. But no, seriously, go on that Twitter, follow it, go to YouTube channel, comment, and get yourself entered. It's 2 autographed jerseys, and we'll find 2 random winners on the 25th, right? Okay, guys, I'll see you guys back for the next one. Go Blue. See y'all later.